Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
Good morning, Bix Weir, Roadrunner.com with your morning horn disease, your sip of chaga coffee. Yeah, you don't see this very often. Silver up $3.50. No, sorry. Oh, Freudian slip. 3.5%. Kind of instantly. It did dawn on me that a lot of people who invested in silver in the last, say, the newbies, in the last 10 years, have never in their lives seen the silver price over $30. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. That's the number they were protecting back during the silver squeeze was $30. So over $30 silver works the opposite of what smart investors do, because as the price of silver goes up, people invest in it. And silver goes down and is in the lowest, they throw it away. It's just the insanity of the way markets work. It's not hard to get rich. Hold when it's low, sell it off if you choose to. I don't know what for, though. Swap assets from like maybe a house or something with a couple ounces of silver. So yeah, most of the people in silver today have not been watching silver during a $30 plus price. So I think that's a big hurdle for the criminals, is to defend $30. But the reality is the defense of the price suppression has usually been with the big banks, the commercial banks. And now they're getting out of that short position. It's dwindled. It's way down. BlackRock came in and is, taking the spot. But truthfully, if they don't cover on the rises, if they don't short on the rises, there's no one to sell silver on the COMEX. No one would sell. It would just be buyers. And you'll see days like this. Cliff called them the dollar days in his data. It was the final release of silver from manipulation. We'd see days where silver would go up $1. Silver would go up $2, $5 at a time, $10, ultimately getting to $600. Now, it would be a very different world at $600 silver. First of all, COMEX will probably be shut down because the shorts would be taken out. So I do expect at some point in the near future for us not to know the price of silver. Cliff called it the times of unobtainium silver. You have all this fiat money in the bank, or not in the bank, and you have nothing to do with it because they're not selling silver. You can't get it from your dealer. They know the value of silver. It's so massively undervalued. It's less than 50% of its all-time high in 1980. It's hard to get your hand around that. All right. What I want to talk about is what is going on right now. Clearly, whoever's moving up the price of silver, which is usually the riggers, they click a mouse and they can drive the price of silver anywhere they want. And then you have the peons behind trading. There's not a lot of them, but like the hedge funds and for example, like retirement funds. They all have silver in the form of like SLV and CEF and PSLV. Those are silver derivatives, by the way. If you own any of those, you don't own silver. You basically are begging the government not to confiscate that silver. And it's such an easy confiscation because it's all in one spot or two spots. So just keep that in mind. The technicals should go long after silver breaks through the final moving average, which is $24.50. So at $24.50, you'll see a triple breakout of the for the technical traders. Now, when it gets there, what are the technical traders who are they gonna sell their shorts to? If the commercials aren't buying, the big riggers aren't buying shorts as it rises, adding more shorts as it rises into the price rise, then who are the technical funds gonna sell their short positions to? How are they gonna cover? I don't know. We'll find out maybe. So yeah, I think the thing to look at right now, very short term, in the next week or so, is the 24.50 mark, and that should give us clear sailing to back to $30. That was a huge defense point of the criminals. I think if it goes through $30 like butter, we'll instantly get to 50, and then that's the line in the sand for silver manipulation. If it goes over 50, there's no more price riggers out there, and we get to find out what the true fair market value of silver is. Potentially. A lot would have to happen. The COMEX shutting down will be interesting because where would we get the price of silver? The LBMA isn't an exchange. It's an association. It's a bunch of banks pretending they trade silver back and forth. So where would we get the physical silver, and where would we get the price of silver? Who knows? Nobody really knows. I'm still diving into what's going on in the Mint. Someone sent me this. Actually, it was the guy I interviewed from the Mint, the head of Silver Eagle Sales, that told me there is a way to identify the metal. PAMP uses it. It's called Veriscan. Here's a little brief part about what it is.
Did you know that even man-made products possess irregular and unique characteristics and textures? Bullion bars that seem identical have in fact, at a microscopic level, a distinctive surface profile like a fingerprint. PAMP's Veriscan system is the fingerprint of the future. It instantly identifies the surface profile of any registered product. This convenient and simple-to-use technology is cost-efficient and greatly reduces risk for both distributors and investors.
So, if you're asking me what that notch might be for, I thought they were going to put it like an identifier into it. They don't even need to. They can look at the structure, microscopic structure of the silver, and maybe it is in that little notch. Maybe they do put some kind of identifier in there. I don't know. But clearly it was put there for a reason. And if the head of Silver Eagle Sales at the U.S. Mint doesn't know what that reason is for, why are people just jumping up and down and saying, what's the notch for? Come on, U.S. Mint, what's the notch for? I think they will put an identifier in if they haven't already. But I would also say, by the way, U.S. Mint, you are the only entity that can constitutionally mint money. The Federal Reserve is unconstitutional, of course, and it doesn't even claim to be part of the Constitution. It's run by the Federal Reserve, a private entity. So just keep that in mind. Yes, we are coming down to the final days. I have put 2 of the 3-part discussion I had with the head of Silver Eagles at the U.S. Mint. The third part should go up either today or tomorrow. So keep an eye on that. Now, I'm not the first one chasing after the Mint. I was chasing after them back in the early 2000s. Then they changed the law. Right now, we have a rogue mint management. Rogue. Ventress Gibson, who has never worked in a mint or any processing facility in her life, is now the director of the Mint. And it is through her and her management that the Mint decided, they made a conscious decision not to make Silver Eagles to meet demand, even though they say they're expanding. Now, as far as the head of the Mint Eagles sales was concerned, there was no other agenda like, making coins and stockpiling them. At least he didn't know of any. And you probably wouldn't tell the guy who's head of sales. He likes to talk. So, yeah, you wouldn't tell someone like that. But you would have him very confused as to what you're doing to his program, because he's been at that job for over 30 years. And it used to be the best 1-ounce sovereign coin in the world. I would declare, yes, it is the best. It's just not the best selling anymore. It is not the best selling. It was taken over by the Canadian Maple Leaf. That's an embarrassment to the current Mint management and Janet Yellen herself, who theoretically is giving the marching orders. And then we all know Janet Yellen gets marching orders from the banking cabal. So yeah, very interesting. I'll post the last part on the private road. I think I'll get to it. Maybe not today, probably tomorrow. But really interesting stuff. And so far, if you listen to these discussions, he has admitted to 3 or 4 crimes, and he says it's out of his hands. It has to do with the management of the mint. He didn't think Yellen even knew that they weren't meeting demand, even though he told all his bosses, including the head of the mint, that we are not meeting demand. We're making less than half of what we believe demand is. And he would be the number one source to understand what demand was, because that's his job. He deals with those handful of authorized purchasers, and he asked them, okay, how many Silver Eagles do you want this year or this month or over the coming months, if you can get them at X amount? Because they weren't offering them at X amount, any amount you want, because that's the law, the premiums went through the roof. And yes, it is. One of the laws that the U.S. Mint is breaking is that they are marking up the bullion program. Matter of fact, they made $81 million off the bullion program last year, and it's illegal to charge 1 penny over your cost. So I'm talking to this guy. He's like, yeah, I know it used to be like that. I said, well, the law didn't change. What do you mean it used to be that you couldn't make a profit on the bullion coin, and now you can make a profit on the bullion coin, but no law was changed? He says, well, yep, you better get with your congressional representative. Wow. And they brag about making $81 million off the bullion program, even though it's illegal. So, yeah, lots more to talk about on that one. One of the congressmen that has been all over this is Alex Moody of West Virginia, he's been sending letters to the mint. I don't think he ever got a reply from the one he sent about 6 months ago, August 29th, 2022, saying, hey, you are U.S. Mint and Treasury Secretary Yellen, you are destroying the best silver program in the world and the most popular retail coin on the planet at the time. Explain yourself. And they haven't gotten back to him. They have not gotten back to the Alex Moody, the rep from, this is Congress. They should immediately get back to him. And right now, I guarantee you got lawyers over at the Mint saying, okay, here's what we say, here's what we say, here's what we say. As a matter of fact, I have a confession that they came to the head of the Silver Eagle sales and they said, what can we get away with? What can we get away with as far as production numbers so that people don't start knocking on the door? Shocking. You would think that the U.S. Mint would want to be popular, would want to live up to the law, would want to give the people of the United States as much silver as they can get their hands on. And that's exactly what the program was set up for in 1986. So I am not stopping on this. It's going to be a project of mine all year. So keep that in mind. Again, silver price almost at the dollar today. Watch. As the silver price goes over $25, $30, all your friends and family are going to be coming to you and asking for advice. Where do I get silver? Where do I get silver? I always say, start with your local guys. Every decent sized town has a gold and silver dealer. Maybe not bullion sometimes. A lot of the pawn shops will deal in gold and silver. Jewelry shops deal in gold and silver. So start local, build a relationship, because that's who you'll probably be selling the silver to when you want to buy a house. You bring in your 10 ounces of silver to buy a house. That relationship is going to be very interesting, because as interest rates continue to rise, because the Fed has to sell like over $1 trillion in treasuries in the next 3 months, as interest rates continue to rise, the housing market is just going to fall flat, get completely destroyed, and never come back. The only reason the price of houses and commercial real estate especially is so high is that free money was always available to those who want it. And that is no longer the case. As a matter of fact, banks are starting to pull back. Can you imagine? I mean, I see housing prices dropping 90% at least. If the if the banks stay in business. If they don't, nobody knows what a house is worth. Because what will you pay? Are you gonna if the new money is gold and silver coinage for the United States? So we go back to a constitutional money. Do you really want to spend gold? Get rid of all your gold to buy a house? At some point, yeah. And silver, obviously, the silver is going to be hell of a lot better. I mean, we're seeing that right now. Look, gold is up 1.28%. Silver's up double that. Silver, again, gold is 3 times its all-time high. 3 times its all-time high since 1980. Over 3 times. No, 2.5. Over 2.5 times. Silver is half. Clearly. This is unsustainable. Although they've done a good job at rigging the market so far. If you own silver in an ETF, kiss it goodbye. When this shit starts falling apart, nothing will survive the crash of the global monetary system. Nothing. Except what you have in your own possession. Think about that. If you have shares of SLV in your own possession, that gives you no right to claim the silver. Just the authorized participants can pull out 50,000 ounces at a time. And do you think they would? Of course they would. Do you think they've already signed contracts? Maybe that's why BlackRock is getting so excited about getting into silver, is they've already signed the contracts. So that when they shut their ETF down, the SLV, they have contracts with all the authorized participants that silver goes back to, probably to JP Morgan and to BlackRock. But nothing is as it seems. And it hasn't been for a long time. I will be talking to Jenny Moonstone later today. If you guys have followed Jenny's readings, phenomenal readings. 2 years ago, she said something that I was like, well, this is crazy. And that was silver would not be released until the problem with the children is known and begun to be taken care of. And thus we have these days stuff like this. Meta's Instagram facilitated massive pedo network. We all knew it, but at least if you're a truther, if you've been red pilled, you know that Pizzagate was real. Of course it was. But that the ramifications of explaining that to the public could not be dealt with back when that was going on years back. Now it can. People don't trust their government. Everything's being exposed. I mean, just look at freaking alien stuff. They're coming out saying, yes, the U.S. has alien technology, and they're trying to reverse engineer it. And this isn't crazy talk anymore. If you said that 10 years ago, everybody, you're a tin hatter. Now it's like they have whistleblowers, they have admissions by the government, by the military that yes, there are craft that we don't understand how they work. And they're far superior than what we have. So keep that in mind. I see stuff like this coming out on the mainstream. This is a Wall Street Journal investigation. Instagram connects vast pedophile network. I have been screaming this for a while because I believe Jenny is correct. She's got so many other things, right? And this was 2 years ago. She said, when that comes to light, that's when silver's let free. Really interesting in Oakland, they're fighting their school boards because the schools are trying to teach all this crazy shit to our kids and not tell the parents. But listen, like here's on Fox News, they allowed this to be aired. Listen to this.
Their children were being introduced to subject matters that they simply were not ready for.
They need to stop asking little children what they sexually identify as. Children are not sexual beings, nor should they be. The sexualization of children is pedophilia. Nothing more, nothing less. I think it's...
Wow. It's like 10 years ago that would not be allowed to be spoken on national TV. There's been a complete block, media silence. And if it's something that had to be talked about, they'd say, oh, it's a conspiracy theory. Not anymore. Fight on, parents, fight on. Never get between a mother and her child, especially a small child. You'll understand why they call them mama bears. They come out with claws and they will rip your heart out if you get in the way and you mess with their kid, as well they should, as well as the dads. Fight for your children because they're not ready to fight for themselves. All right. That's what I got. Yes, it's encouraging that the riggers click the mouse. We're looking for dollar days, then $5 days, $10 days. When we blow past $50, it's game on. It's game over for the bad guys. It's game on for silver actually trying to find its fair market value. And I think by the end of the year, we will know silver's fair market value. And it might be unobtainium, meaning nobody can buy it. Yeah, say it's worth $1,000, $2,000 an ounce, but if nobody's selling, what's it really worth? And there will be companies, massive companies, like all Elon Musk's companies that need physical silver to even operate. The solar panel industry will be destroyed. The television, flat screen TV, the decent sized one has 1 ounce to 2 ounces of silver in it. Are you ready? Are you prepared to pay another $1,000, $2,000? Just when flat screen TVs went from $5,000 down to you can get a big one for like a couple $100, and now it will jump back up because of the silver content. That's something we're just going to have to deal with, and we're going to turn away from the throwaway economy where everything you buy you just throw it away when you're done with it. That's crazy if you think about it. Back in the day they used to make things to last. Now it's the computer technology in these assets that becomes old. It's not the TV. It's that actual electronic componentry, and every TV is a smart TV now. Well, that means it needs to get upgraded constantly. And tech people love that. They'll come out with new software and say, well, you have to use this to get this, so you have to buy this as well. It's a classic shell game. But that's where we're headed. And as our friend Cliff High says, you have to be dynamic, meaning you have to go with what you're presented with and move quickly and fast. And you can't be static. If you're static and you don't make any moves, you will lose. You will be a loser in this game. And it is a game for our sovereignty, for our free will. And that's the number one thing. In the spiritual world, that's the number one thing that humanity needs to grab a hold of, is their own free will. You came here for a reason. Anybody who blocks you from fulfilling that purpose, you should fight. Absolutely. And of course, if your purpose hurts somebody else intentionally, that's a problem with you and your karma. But yeah, free will must be injected back into, especially my country, the United States of America, but every country. You need the ability to speak freely, because all these things that we can't talk about, this should have been exposed years ago and was being exposed. That's why they censored the internet. That's why they censored social media, because you used to be able to talk about anything on social media. And then the truth that the people who run the social media companies and run the government are not acting the way any human being should act, especially when it comes to our kids, that needs to be known instantly, and that needs to be stopped instantly. And that's the world we're headed directly for, very fast. And yes, $100 silver would help that cause. $600 silver will help that cause, the cause of freedom, the cause of tearing down the old control structures, putting a new monetary system in place, things like that. And anybody who's against that is against your free will. And free will is the number one thing you have. They can never take it away from you, and as they try, you fight it. That's my take, at least. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. Again, I'm talking to Jenny Moonstone later, talking a lot about what's going on in silver, and that connection that she put together 2 years ago seems to be happening right now. We will find out, though, right? So currently, silver's up 83 cents. Gotta love that. And the dollar days are coming. So, it's up to, is BlackRock going to short into the rise? Right now, I think they're trying to protect the moving averages, which is $24.50. We're right near there. Look at that. Right near there. Let's take a look at single day stuff. That's today's action. That is movement on volume. This is the volume down here. We like to see movement on volume, But again, they're looking for 24.50. 24.50 is the tech when you cross over the 50-day moving average. And the sky's the limit, at least to 30. Blows by 30, remember, the majority of silver investors have not been in it for 10 years. Most of them came on at the 2021, the Wall Street silver stuff. Yeah, they were like, oh my God, it's going to hit $30. Everybody got in, and then they slammed the price under 20 with computers and derivatives. And meanwhile, the big banks since then have been clamoring to get out of the short position. You have to have a short for every long. So if you're going to go long silver, if you're short silver right now and you're starting to bleed cash, look out above, because silver will run when it hits 30. It'll run probably in a matter of weeks before it hits 50. And then after 50, it's sky's the limit. And my gut tells me it's September. Get back at the assholes for September 11th. We'll find out though, right? Buy your silver. Again, if you have a local coin shop, use them. If you don't have a local coin shop, contact Andy Scheckman at Miles Franklin. He's helped so many people on the road to Ruta, and it's easy. You give him a call. You tell him, he sends you a list of what they got and how much it is, and then you tell him what you want. I highly suggest buying stuff out of inventory so you don't have to wait, and then you wire them the money as soon as that wire is received. Boom. That's when they ship to you. So get in touch with Andy. To get in touch with him, send an email, info@milesfranklin.com, milesfranklin.com. Yeah, and they'll treat you right there, and they've helped the Road to Ruta people buy up every silver ounce that's available, which is great. Congratulations, you guys. You're going to love the future of silver. No matter what happens, good or bad, happy, sad, the future is all about silver. The best conductor of electricity on the planet, and absolutely necessary in the production of these high-tech, futuristic lifestyle necessities. Electric cars, obviously. The projections for electric cars, I think it has by 2028, electric cars will be, or 2080, electric cars will use all of the silver that's produced. But that's a problem, because solar panels saying that by 2050, all the silver produced will be used in solar panels. Something's got to give, my friends. You're not allowed to get silver? No, go get your silver before the chaos hits. That's what I got for you. Anyway, talking to Jenny today. If you want to join the private road at Road to Ruta, get all this great stuff, go to roadtoruta.com, click on subscribe today. We will send you this coin. This absolute coolest coin ever made, the Ruta Lives coin. Hand-painted, double struck. Here's how it's made. I'll talk to you guys later.